Hello, YouTube. I'm just getting ready. I'm waiting for my TikTok people to turn up. Getting hot here. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Hello. Oh, boy, you're coming in quickly. Okay. So while we're waiting for people to turn up, I'd love to know where you're from and how old your kids are. So I just got back from the gym. I was rushing around. This is how I look when I'm at the gym. Okay. So where are you from? Aussie as. I'm Aussie. I'm Australian too. That's where my kids were born and raised. Anyway, so where are you from and how old are your kids? Dallas, Texas. Dallas. Sassy Emma. You've been here before, haven't you? Sassy Emma. I like sassy. I like that word. I never use that. I'm not really sassy, I guess, but I love that word, sassy. Sounds cute. Okay, so where are you from and how old are your kids? Oops, got my microphone here. Almost dropped it. Okay, so Vegas, 6 and 4. I'll bet you don't gamble, right? People who live in Vegas, I've heard, don't gamble. I'm not a gambler. My mother loved it. She always had like some money put aside and they'd go to Reno and that was their trip. They loved it. No, you don't gamble, yeah. Michigan, 12, 10, and 2. Oh, that's nice. So you got babysitters for the little ones. Smart. K-Pac, Michigan? Missouri or Michigan? 16 months. K-Pac. Never heard of that. I'm going to write that down. I'm going to look it up. I'll look it up later. I learn a lot about the world just by doing these lives. Okay, actually, we'll just get going now. We've got enough people here. So if you look in the link above, you'll see everything that I've got to offer in my business. You can download my free behavior board. That starts at the age of 3. And then you can buy my toddler courses. They're mini toddler courses, depending on what you're struggling with. And then I have my big general course for 3 to 12 years old. That's how to get respect in 5 weeks. That's the boot camp course. And then the next level up is coaching one-on-one with me. That's all done on Zoom. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world. This will be my last Saturday morning live because it's just not working in with my schedule right now. And I've replaced it with my Instagram lives regular at 5 o'clock on Tuesday nights. So I've got 2 regularly scheduled lives and I just turn up on here whenever, like I don't schedule them. Usually I just turn up, but the 2 scheduled ones will be TikTok on here, 7 p.m. That's Vancouver Pacific time. And then on Instagram, now I'm doing a 5 o'clock, same time, my time, on Thursday nights on Instagram. I'm quite new on Instagram, but things are picking up over there. So I'm trying to balance it out a little bit more. So anyway, okay, so let's get going with your parenting questions. And I'll make that announcement again later because I know people come and go. Okay, sorry, I just finished working out a little bit. I got like gym head. Okay, Michigan, cows and pigs and chickens, K-Pac. I love animals. I love them. But I'll bet you my dad he grew up on a farm. So to him, animals were just food and they were guarding the property. Like they were just served a purpose. And I remember when I got my first dog, my dad just didn't get it. And one day I caught him under the table petting the dog. So yeah, he kind of got it after that. It was funny. Okay, so my 6.5-year-old daughter is all best this, best that in school, but the opposite when home. What is wrong? It sort of says to me that you're a pleaser at home and the teacher is a leader. So she knows how to respond. They all know how to respond to a leader. So you just got to work on your leadership skills. That's all that is. When they're disrespecting you, yeah, it's just your leadership skills. That's all. You gotta command respect. You don't demand it. You command it. You got to work for that. So check out my boot camp course. You might be interested in that, or just download my behavior board. That's sort of the start. I suggest you do that first anyway. Check it out, and then it'll give you an idea of how I work. So the behavior board. So anyway, you just got to work on your, we're never fixing kids. We're fixing and teaching parents here. You lead, they will follow. Instagram, same handle. I don't know. I don't do my Instagram. I just turn up and do lives. Let me check. It would be Bratbusters parenting, I think. I don't understand Instagram. I don't even know what I am on here. It's always Bratbusters, but I don't know if it's Bratbusters parenting, but I don't think there's any other Bratbusters on there. So, um, am I Bratbusters? Okay, I'm just going to look it up. I'm just looking up what I am on Instagram because I'll be doing my lives there. I'm going to be replacing this live with Thursday night on Instagram because just Bratbusters parenting, all one word on Instagram. Is that right? That's Instagram? Yeah. Sorry, I don't do my own Instagram. I don't understand it. I don't understand this either. I don't understand social media. I'm old. Give me a break. Don't know what I'm doing. Okay. But yeah, things have really picked up. I'm new on Instagram, but things have been picking up on there. So I'm doing a regularly scheduled live on there. And then my same regularly scheduled Tuesday night live on here. But I'm not doing this one anymore. It's just not working in with my schedule. A lot of my clients want Saturday mornings, and I can't do this instead of my clients. So anyway, yeah, that's happened a few times now, and I thought I can't do that anymore. Okay. 5-year-old, why do grown-ups always get what they want? Say we don't always get what we want. I have to pay the bills. I have to clean the house. I have to scrub the toilet. I have to clean up when you vomit. So no, we don't always get what we want. It just seems that way because we are more in control of our lives because we're adults, but we have to control all the negative stuff too. See, I always told my kids that. I said, you want to start paying the bills? Point out what you have to do. Because when you throw up, who gets to do that? Who cleans that up? Luckily, I hate vomit. I don't have a phobia like I used to, but I used to have a real phobia about it. That was my only concern with becoming a mother. I don't care about baby spit up. That's different. But the real vomit when they get older. And my kids didn't vomit hardly ever, but my son was 8 and was quite the show. And I just about fell apart. And luckily, I looked over when he was just about passing out. I caught him as he passed out. Thank God. But you should have seen the mess. I was traumatized. So yeah, we don't always get to do what we want. You think I wanted to do that? You think I wanted to clean up that mess? Oh my God. I was trying to avoid him while he was throwing up because he was 8. And then when he started passing out, it just went everywhere, covered us both. And yeah, I don't always get to do what I want. Oh, now I'm getting cold. I was hot when I first started. Okay. Okay. Been just saying no. I don't know the first part in that, Hannah. I'm assuming it's a 2-year-old. Been just saying no to my son and moving him away. He immediately goes to do the same thing again. Just make yourself less accessible. And plus, I don't quite understand what's going on. Okay, I'll make up a scenario. Let's say you got a 2-year-old who's hitting you. And I do have a mini course on that if you're interested. If you have a 2-year-old that's hitting you, you say no and you push them away. And then he keeps coming at you. Then you restrain them for a few seconds. You say no and you just hold them for a few seconds. Then you walk away. The whole idea behind this is you have to outdo them with this. You have to wait them out. You have to just keep doing it repeatedly, repetition. It's agony. It's really boring and it's agony, but it does work eventually. Okay, hello, X here to learn. Love you and your teaching. Oh, thanks so much. It's just common sense. I'm old. I've been doing this forever. I started volunteering in daycare centers when I was 11 years old. That was 52 years ago. So I've been studying kids my whole life. I find them fascinating. My 1-year-old throws his food off his high chair tray. Any tips? Yeah, absolutely. Every time they throw food, you say no, and then you hand feed them. And do that for the rest of that meal. Hand feed them. They might not eat hardly anything for that meal. That's okay. An hour later, give them a snack. They'll survive. But yeah, they will soon connect the dots. Not right away, though. As soon as they throw something, I don't give them a second chance. Not during that meal. Okay, 13-year-old ADHD who is getting in a lot of trouble at school. Referrals. Oh, you want me to refer you to someone? I don't know what you mean by that. Referrals. I don't know what you're asking me. I specialize in teenagers, so if you want some help with that, you could hire me. But yeah, I don't know what you mean by that. My daughter, 3 years old, doesn't play by herself at all. Always has to have next to her helper. Okay, so my daughter was Velcro, but she knew not to bug mom all the time. I'd just say, "Scram, I'm making dinner," and she'd just go off, and then she'd just learn that yeah, she can't always be hanging off me. So she just learned. But I didn't feed it, and it didn't bother me. I'd just say, "Scram." That's what my mother used to say, "Scram, I'm cooking dinner." And oh, okay. But what I would do with my kids, I was pretty good at getting activities going. I would make Play-Doh, or if I was making, I used to make a lot of my own stuff. So if I was making dough to make pizza or bread or something, I would give them a bit of dough to play with at the kitchen table. So we were kind of doing the same thing, but I was still getting my own stuff done. But yeah, you sort of have to teach them what to do. My mom's favorite word was scram. Was if I was under, I was, mommy, scram. I'm busy. Oh, okay. If you know you're loved and you got great parents, the word scram does not damage a child. Someone said, "Oh, how damaging." No, they're fine. If that would damage your child, you got bigger things to worry about. How to go about aggressive tantrums. I have two courses. I have one toddler tantrum busting. The other one is toddlers who hit, etc. If they hit during a tantrum, you deal with it differently. If they hit just to get their own way, they're two different courses. Anyway, aggressive tantrums, you just restrain them. So if they're hitting you or hitting someone else, you physically restrain them just for a few seconds or whatever, then let go, see how they go, then you restrain them again. You don't talk to them or look at them though. The whole idea is you have to keep them and anyone around them and property safe and undamaged. So that's the whole idea behind that. And then you never punish for that, because during a tantrum, they don't have any control. So you don't punish for that. You just restrain them. Thanks. Always feel bad if I say no, blaming myself. What's wrong with saying no? Children have to learn. You don't want to raise self-entitled snowflakes with mental health issues. If they never hear the word no at home, and they're going to hear it a lot out in the world, they're not going to survive. You want to raise kids who understand they can't always get what they want, when they want, and how they want it. You didn't give me what I wanted. I'm just the bus driver lady. Like, that's what you're going to raise. So the word no is fine. I'm just going to announce this again. I'm replacing these morning lives. It just doesn't suit me in my schedule anymore. So I'm going to be replacing these. This will be my last Saturday morning live that I know of. I might pop up, but my last scheduled Saturday morning live. I've replaced it with Instagram on Thursday nights now at 5 p.m. I'm new on Instagram. It's really picking up. So I've got two scheduled lives, one on TikTok Thursday night at 7 p.m. Vancouver time, and then one on Instagram at 5 p.m. But I will be not doing this one regularly anymore. How do I get my 2-year-old to feed himself? Please help. Get real slow with feeding him. This is what I would do. I would get a spoon already and look at it, and then I would just sort of, oh, right, oh, here. Just get real slow with it. I've done that with kids. They eventually just go, I'll feed myself. So don't slow it down on purpose like that. Just look like, huh. Yeah, what was I? Oh, my shopping list. Maybe you know what I mean? Yeah. So just slow it down. Don't be so efficient. Shoot, I got myself a video going in the background there. Sorry. Okay. Oh, Jessenia. It's Jessenia, isn't it, on YouTube? Jessenia. It's like when I say, I was reading something once, and instead of photographer, I call it a photographer. So Jessenia. Anyway, she goes, from California, 2-year-olds send help, haha. Toddlers they're very trying because they don't make any sense. Toddlers are brand new, fresh human beings. They're just figuring things out, and you just have to go with it. I'm going to read out my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. And to make your life easier, basically. Child-proof your home so you never have to say no. Set up a toy rotation system so they're never bored. Enter their world when you want to connect with them. You lay down on the floor and watch how they play and play in their world. That's how you start connecting. It's part of your leadership skills. They just look at you differently when you do that. And then when you are disciplining a toddler, it's consistent corrective actions because they learn through repetition. It's not these mini therapy sessions discussing your big feelings, big emotions. That's just garbage. That's for the mother, not for the toddler. And then the last one is stop trying to figure them out. They're not figure-outable. They haven't formed yet. They're brand new, fresh human beings. They seem crazy because they just haven't developed sanity yet. They have no context of the world. Imagine if you're 2 years old and the first year you were just a potato laying on a mattress. How can you possibly understand the world yet? Yeah, they're just forming. Cute as a button, all feet, no brains. That's my least favorite age. I liked them at home. I thought it was fun and great. But when I took them out, you can't relax. You have to watch them constantly. And I'm very social. I love socializing. So every time I went out with my toddler, there's no socializing. You're just watching them constantly. Okay, if you've got bedtime battles, stuff going on with bedtime, it's two parts: how to get them to bed and how to keep them there. Not everyone struggles with both. But I do have a brand new course out called Bedtime Battles if you're interested. It's a whole process. So 3-year-old hits when mostly when excited. What do we say? Put it on the behavior board. My behavior board's completely free. It's in the link above, and you put down no hitting. And then when they hit, there's a consequence. They have to do a chore or something like that. If they won't do that, then there's media blackout for 24 hours, or they can't watch the iPad today or something. Check that out. It's all explained in the free behavior board in the link above. Kids addicted to electronics. Any idea how to get them off? You make it sound like it's their problem. You've done that. You set them up for it. So now you have to wean them off it. You've made your own bed. Now you got to lay in it. Okay. It's really hard to fix up though. So what you do is you say, okay, so I don't know how old they are, by the way. So I've done a whole bunch of videos on media management or screen time management. And basically what you do is you set up an allotted certain hours per week. And then you write it up on a board, you keep track of it. And then if they've used it up in 4 days, they've got nothing for 3 days. Let them learn how to manage their own time. You never really want to be telling your kids what to do. Just set up systems and expectations, and then it's up to them. And if they don't follow through with these, if they're fair and reasonable, right? They don't follow through with these, then you're there to have a consequence. Say, hey, buddy, you went overtime on that. So you're going to take that time off next week. So if they cheated, I would take double that time off. If let's say they used up their 10 hours in a week and they went over by 2 hours, I would take off 4 hours in the next week. I just would. If they're older, if they're like 8, 9 and older, I just would. They learn really quickly. Say, well, that was your choice to do that. So now it's my job. I always said that to my kids. That's why they never fought back, because I just said, well, it was your choice to do that. So they just learned. They were just easy because they understood it's all up to them. I used to say to them, if your good life is good, if your bad life ain't so good, I'll make sure of it because I'm your mom and that's my job. So, that's why they never fought. They actually apologized. If they did something wrong, they would apologize to me for having to discipline them, having to come up with a consequence. I usually had them come up with it. Well, what do you think we should do? So I started to do what you preach about no therapy session. It works. Yeah, it just does. The therapy sessions, if you think about that, if you're 2 years old, do you really want to lay on a couch and be talked to like a therapy session? But does that make any sense? It makes no sense at all. I know why it was invented. It was invented 30 years ago. I saw it coming in and I knew exactly where we were going to be. I said, we're going to be raising self-entitled snowflakes with mental health issues. And I'm predicting the drug problem will skyrocket. You're raising very weak individuals who don't make very good choices. We're all iPad babies. I don't think there's anything wrong with screens. I just think it's like anything. There's, in small doses or, monitored. I don't think there's anything wrong with them. But yeah, and I don't have any real opinions on that. Like some families I work with don't even have screens. But I don't have any opinion. It's like religion. I don't have any opinion on religion or co-sleeping or how long you breastfeed. So there's no set, black and white answer to any of that. I'm addicted to screens, so it's horrible. I've got only 3 screens or 4 screens right now. I often have 5 screens going. So really hard for me to preach. I wouldn't let kids do that. What are your qualifications for behavioral education? Not asking really, I'm interested. Yeah, okay, I don't have any formal qualifications. I started volunteering in daycare centers when I was 11 years old. That was 52 years ago. When I was 20, I thought, I'll become a child psychologist. So after a week, they gave me my money back. They kicked me out because I asked too many questions. What they were saying was a bunch of trash. It was awful. It was very holier than thou, patronizing, domineering. It was that old-fashioned authority, always trying to be smarter than the kids. I thought it was patronizing and I thought it was mean. So anyway, I argued with them all the time and they got rid of me. And the other students kept asking me questions. So yeah, I just think it was my calling. And then I volunteered with hundreds of kids over the years, and it was the troubled teenagers, the violent teenagers. They're the ones who said, Lisa, you got to teach this. No one's ever talked to us the way you do. So, and I teach leadership. It's all about giving respect to get it. But my goal is always to make kids like themselves, make them feel good about themselves when they're with me, make them proud of themselves when they're with me. And then why would they ever be rude to me? It doesn't make any sense. So that's why I was always good at getting respect. I use fun and humor to make them feel good about themselves. Easy. Yeah, a lot of my clients have a lot of qualifications. A lot of my clients are teachers, principals, child psychologists. They identify that, and by the way, that psychologist, that was 40 years ago. I'm sure they've improved. That 40 years ago, it was just trash what they were teaching. It was so stupid, I couldn't believe it. It was very patronizing with kids. And but now I'm sure they've improved. So, that was 40 years ago. They've learned a lot. But also a lot of my clients are child psychologists, and they've identified that it's a different role. They say, why am I so good with other people's kids, but I've got my own teenagers or whatever, and I'm a mess? And I say, because it's personal. That's my specialty, parenting. I couldn't do what they do. So yeah, it's personal. They're a reflection of you. It's all personal. It's different. So yeah, I love it. Okay. Ever since I came across your Ignore the Crazy video, it has been working for me so good. Thanks. Excellent. What you're referring to, Lexi, is you ignore the crazy and reward the calm. So when kids are going, like having a tantrum, you completely ignore the crazy, like you're filing your nails, but you want to be right there showing them you're waiting, like you're waiting in a lineup. You want to show that how calm you are. You're exercising what you want from them. As soon as they calm down, then you say, do you want to go to the park? Why would you discuss a tantrum? It's just, I think it's mean. I wouldn't discuss a tantrum, ever. So as soon as they're finished, you reward the calm, and they just learn. When you get that down pat and you know how to do that, at first they're used to you interfering. They're used to you feeding it by giving them attention. If you were doing that in the past, they're going to get worse before they get better. They're going to fight to get the old you back, okay? It's a pattern you've developed and taught them. So, but then once you get this, once they understand, wait a minute, she's going to ignore the crazy and reward the calm, I may as well be calm. It minimizes tantrums in duration, intensity, and frequency. So it just does. That's not what she means by therapy. Hopefully she will explain. I don't know what did I say wrong? I don't know. I say a lot of things wrong. I don't know what I said wrong that time. Therapy. When I talk about mini therapy sessions, I'm just going to bring this up. I'm not talking about kids who've been abused and need to go into therapy. That's different when they're older. That's what they need. I'm talking about toddlers when you're trying to discuss their big feelings when they're having a tantrum. And then afterwards, you try and discuss their big feelings, their big emotions. Those are the mini therapy sessions I'm referring to. They're just for the mother. They have nothing to do with the toddler. They may be looking at you and repeating what you're saying, but it's going in here and flying out there. It usually increases the tantrums. Yeah, I know it's trendy. I get it. I've watched this come in for many decades now. I saw it coming. It'll go out again because it doesn't work. It backfires down the road. Do you give them skills to call themselves? What do you mean by that? I think I know what you mean by that, but I think I know what you mean. But maybe you could explain that. Skills to call themselves. Call themselves what? Maybe you could explain that. I'm having a hard time coming up with consequences for my 3-year-old. It's usually a chore. They have to make your bed, not very well. They have to help you with laundry. They have to help you unload the dishwasher. They have to help you with the chore. And you give them 10 minutes. You have to help for 10 minutes starting now. And then you decide afterwards whether they were helping at all. So then you say, by the way, you didn't help at all. So now it's no TV tonight or something like that. And then if they are, I'll help now, it's too late. You'll know next time, won't you? Once you've said no TV tonight, no screens tonight, follow through. I love disciplining because I know it works. I know they learn from that. You've got to be willing to go through the storm. If you're afraid of a fit or a scene or a tantrum, they are in charge and they don't respect you. They'll wipe their feet all over you. You'll become a dish rag for them right through the teen years. When you say something, you have to follow through. What do you recommend instead of mini therapy sessions with your toddler? Well, what do you mean? What do you mean? You don't need to replace it with anything. You just, I don't know what you mean. You mean during a tantrum? I'll tell you the swing story. It's my favorite tantrum story. It explains what you do and what you don't do. Okay, so it's a true story. So I'm just talking in reference to tantrums. You don't mini therapy sessions, okay, with tantrums. This is the perfect story for that. That's true. Anyway, my son was 2 years old. I took him to the park. And at the park, there was a new mom there. They just moved into the neighborhood. I hadn't met her yet. So she's there with her 2-year-old little boy. And we're like, hi, how are you? We're introducing ourselves. And we're both putting our little boys on the swings. There was 2 swings there. And while we're talking, they decided they wanted the other swing. So we both said, well, let's just switch them. Who cares? Well, they both started having a tantrum. Like, that's toddlers. They're just nuts, right? So this is what I did. I took my son over to the bench. I sat him down. He went to run for the swing, and I put my arm out really quickly. Well, he knew me. He knew that when mom did something, that was it. So he sat back and had a tantrum. Only lasted, and I'm just sitting there looking up at the birds and the trees and completely ignoring him, looking up. And as soon as he calmed down, that was my opportunity. That's when you go in and you say, oh, okay, y'all done? Let's go back on the swing. As soon as he calmed down, he's rewarded, okay? The crazy, he's completely ignored. He's back on the swing, having a great time. The other mom, on the other hand, took her little 2-year-old boy over to the bench. The whole time he's having a tantrum. She's trying to hug him. Oh, it just says I lost the connection. I hope I'm back now. Anyway, she's trying to hug him. She's talking to him about his big feelings. Well, you know, if you just ask, she's trying to reason with him. He is just getting worse because she's feeding it. Any attention is tantrum food. So she's feeding it for 20 minutes. This kid was screaming hysterically, and she's trying to restrain him. It was just a nightmare. And anyway, so then at the end of 20 minutes, he gets the hiccup cries. And I'm thinking, oh, finally, he's going to get back on the swing. No, what did she do? She did a mini therapy session. Now, you know, if you just asked nicely, you would have gone right back. She brutalized this poor kid. It was just torture to watch. This is just brutalizing him. You know, he should have been back on the swing at that point. As soon as he calmed down, get him on that swing right away. Where was his understanding of what just happened? She's going to feed the crazy. She's not going to reward the calm. I don't know what's going on. She doesn't know what's going on. It's a total crap show. Okay. So anyway, then 30 minutes later, I guess she put him back on the swing. My son was tired of being there, so we left. Do you get the difference? My son, it was only like a 2-minute tantrum because he was starting to get it. He had longer ones sometimes. This one I would lucked out. It was just a shorter one, but I still would have treated it the exact same way. So he understood when I put my arm out, I'm in charge. He's not getting back on that swing. He also knew that he wasn't getting any attention or back on that swing until he calmed down. He was starting to put it together. He was just 2 years old. So you see the difference? Which kid is happier? My son. Which mother was happier? Me. Which situation would you rather be in? Okay. Okay. First of all, your channel is absolutely, oh, I shouldn't have read that. It's about me. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. What's your take on no cartoons? I don't really answer that because I don't really think it's a black and white answer. I don't think anything's going to scar them like that, you know, cartoons. My kids, I have cartoon blindness. I have a hard time seeing a cartoon. Isn't that weird? It happened when I was a teenager. All of a sudden, it would just look like a blur on the screen. I can hardly decipher a cartoon. Isn't that weird? Never heard of that before. Anyway, I used to love cartoons, and there's nothing wrong with them. But my kids, I made sure they watched this one program that was on in Australia. It was called Play School. Every single morning, pretty much, I sat them in front of that. It was so educational. It's what Sesame Street used to be. Used to be educational. Now it's just selling Elmo or something. I don't know what they're doing. But anyway, but yeah, it used to be educational. And but I sat them in front of that. That was my time to get laundry done and everything. So it was great. And then it was over and there was no big deal. That's pretty much all they saw all day. But yeah, so I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I do think, though, a lot of cartoons tend to be violent. Like I used to watch Roadrunner and all that. Talk about violent. So yeah, maybe watch that. But I don't have any big opinion. I haven't seen a lot of damage happening from cartoons, put it that way. Okay, oh, God, you must be new here, McKenna. What should be done for a toddler who refuses timeout? I hate timeout, can't stand them. I'm always saying that. I can't stand timeout. I think they're patronizing and mean. I hate it. Imagine if you made a mistake at work and your boss said, you go stand in a corner. You're not even worth talking to. You think about what you did. Then when you come out of timeout, then I'm going to talk to you again about everything you did wrong. I think it's horrible. I can't stand timeout. Check out my behavior board. It teaches you how to do everything but timeout. Like how you deal with discipline. If they're 3 and over, if they're under 3, it's consistent corrective action. Timeout to me is mean. I hate it. I think it's humiliating for the child, and I hate it. So, yeah, I've never done it. I just can't stand it. Okay, so this is Michaela. Is that McKenna, Michaela? So after my 3-year-old pours her cup out, I immediately make her clean up and then give her a discipline. I wonder why she's doing that, though. Why would she do that? And is she sitting at the table? I never allowed my kids to walk around with food or drink. They had to sit at the kitchen table, and they never argued it because they didn't know any different. So yeah, I'm wondering why. I wouldn't. Yeah, I would do what you did, but I don't know why she did it in the first place. Or was it just a one-off? Or does she do it all the time? Anyway, use the behavior board and say no making a mess or something like that. No making a mess with your food or drink, and then have a consequence for that. Okay, here's the thing. I'm going to challenge you on this. This is for Shelby. Very sensitive 3-year-old who hits and throws things if told something he doesn't want to hear. He's not sensitive. He's just spoiled. There's a difference. A sensitive child doesn't yell out and everything. It's like you're using the word wrong. He's not sensitive. He's just spoiled. He wants to get his own way. That's all. That's not sensitive. That's different. So yeah. So what if he doesn't get his own way? That's his process. He has to learn. But yeah, that's not sensitivity. Sensitivity is when you're very sensitive to other people too. Like it's overused. It's very sensitive. When he doesn't get his way, he throws a fit. That's not sensitive. That's spoiled. So yeah, you can train him out of that. Work on your leadership skills. Check out my boot camp course that teaches you how to be a leader in 5 weeks. That's in the link above. So LOL, yeah. That word's used a lot with kids who act out. It's very sensitive. Is he sensitive to your needs too, or just he doesn't get his own way? Like it's funny. Okay. This is Iona. Iona. I don't know how to pronounce that. Sorry, I probably messed it up. My daughter manipulates me and my partner. She is so naughty when we are together. Why, I wonder? Because it's a learned behavior. She's learned that she can interrupt you and it gets you guys upset, and therefore she's the center of attention. I don't know how old she is, though. Anyway, use the behavior board, and I put down no interrupting. Or I'd just start to work on your leadership skills. Obviously, you're not a leader. That would never happen if you're a leader. So work on your leadership skills. Their behavior up to about the age of 13 is 100% a direct result of your parenting. Over that, they're more influenced by other people, but still, they're still not going to go. They're not going to stray very far. But yeah, their behavior is 100% a direct result of your parenting. So remember, we're never fixing kids. We're fixing and teaching parents here. I teach parenting. I don't teach toddlering or kidding or teenagering. They're masters at it. They know what to do. They're just reacting to you. So anytime they act out, it's you. And always think about, oh, what am I doing wrong here? What should I be doing better? So always analyze yourself. Every time I've ever worked with a kid, if they ever acted out, I always go like this: what am I doing here? What am I missing? It's always on me, always. Even with teenagers, that's how I did it. I always blame myself. Anything they did, even though it wasn't my fault, that's not how I work. I work on me being the leader. Your love asked me to join you. Normally you don't allow that. I have no idea what that means. Okay. Oh, your live asked me to join you. Oh, I don't do that. No, that's not me. I didn't do that at all. I never bring anyone in on a live. I did it once, and the person talked about their business, and I thought, oh, that was stupid. I didn't see that one coming, because I got a big audience here, and so people always want. You should see the stuff I get emails. Like, I can help you with this. Yeah, just put me in front of your audience. Yeah, okay. That's not going to happen. I've seen a lot of videos talking about cartoons delaying toddlers' speech. Yeah, okay. There's a lot of information out there. You have to decide what is valid and what isn't. That's your call, you know. And I don't critique what other people say. Like I don't know. I get asked that a lot. I don't, not so much anymore. People know I don't critique what other people are saying. Like if you name someone who's out there teaching something, I would never comment on that. I don't know who's out there. I stay in my own lane. Kids teach me everything. Why would I read a book on kids or parenting? Like I would have no interest in that. Kids taught me all this. So anything I say is just came from kids. Me being with kids. Okay. Yes, I'm so lost because I know I'm not doing the right thing. Okay, check out my boot camp course. That sort of teaches you how to set yourself up as a leader. It's a 5-week course, step by step by step. If you're going to buy that course, do not go to you can read the whole thing, but do not jump ahead, especially week 4. Everyone wants week 4. Do not jump ahead to week 4. You have to it's a learning process. It's not about your kids, it's about you. You're learning how to be a leader. You need to go through 1, 2, and 3 weeks before. You can elongate it by 1 or 2 weeks, but do not jump ahead. Okay. So I'm getting messages here. Just a sec. It's one of my kids, so I just checked it out. It's okay. If my kids, I don't care what I'm doing. If my kids message me, I'm like, oh, I'm all over it. And I'm that mother. I'm such a loser. Whenever I see my kids, I'm like, mush around my kid. I'm just a loser. I don't do that with anybody else, but when my kids walk in the room, it's like I'm just crazy. I guess you can't see it on your end. You have someone on with you right now. Don't think so. I would know. If they are, yeah, that's just spamming me. Okay. Get lots of kids on TikTok. I notice this more on TikTok than on Instagram. Yeah, they're always they're just, I guess they're bored. I don't know where their parents are. Do you ever plan on releasing a book? Maybe one day. The thing is, I hate writing. I would probably have to have a ghostwriter decipher all my videos. And I have been approached a couple of times. It just hasn't been the right timing for me. So yeah, I got a lot going on. I've got some real goals I want to attain in my business, and the book is down the road. Like, I mean, things I want to put out there. Things. Okay, Felicia. My son will be 3 next month and still keeps putting everything in his mouth. Doesn't matter how many times I tell him to stop. Okay, he's almost 3. I would use the behavior board at almost 3, and I would say stop putting things in your mouth, and except food and drink. Right? Stop putting things in. And every time he does, it's a tricky one though, because is it a habit? Does he suck his thumb? Does he have that kind of thing going on? I would suggest you maybe get him one of those straw cups and get him a really sturdy straw cup, and he can chew on that. Just put water in it and maybe see if that, I don't know, because you got to understand too, sometimes they just have tendencies or tics or something. So he may have that. I don't know. Don't worry. He probably doesn't, but I'm just saying you might want to, I don't know. I don't know exactly why he would do that at 3 years old. He puts everything in his mouth. Yeah. If you want my help with that, you might want to check into coaching, because I would have to ask a lot of questions. But otherwise, I would just say, put it on the behavior board, say no putting things in your mouth, and then there's a consequence if he does. Not a big one. It's not a big behavioral thing. It's more of a habit. So the consequence could be something really, like he just has to brush your hair for 1 minute or something like that. Something really minimal. That would be his consequence. Just to see him, if you can get him out of it. If you can't, then you might want to hire me. Okay. Oops, actually, I have to get going. This is my very last live on Saturday morning. I've replaced it with an Instagram live, 5 p.m. Thursday night, sorry. And that's Pacific time, Vancouver, California time. So I've still got 2 scheduled lives. The rest of them, I just pop up whenever I've got time. But my 2 scheduled lives now are Tuesday night here on TikTok, 7 p.m. Pacific time, and Thursday on Instagram at 5 p.m. Pacific time. I'm new on Instagram. I'm growing on there, and I'm that's working really well. So I've got my 2 lives. This is my last one. It's just not working timing wise because I've had to turn down client, and my coaching comes before everything. So I've had to turn down coaching clients on Saturday mornings because of these lives, and that's not right, because sometimes Saturday's all they have, and I don't work on Sundays. They only have the weekend, so I've got to keep it open for clients. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. Check in the link above if you want to download my free behavior board, buy one of my mini toddler courses, or the big course. It's the boot camp, 3 to 12 years old, 5 weeks to get respect. That's for you becoming a leader. Or the next level up is hire me for coaching. That's all done on Zoom, so it doesn't matter where you live. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll be back again for my next scheduled one, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Pacific time. Take care. Bye now.